Oh, quite a few. Okay. Okay, so I think I'll just recap on what we discussed last week. The topic is Jain numerology, and we started off this exercise where people were asked to either first of all count and then name the fruits here. And the idea was that when we were children or when we are own children, and when we start to learn how to learn the alphabets or numbers, in that one exercise we are learning so many things. Not only are we learning how to count 1, 2, 3, 4, we are learning A, B, C, D, and we are also learning what are the names of these exotic kind of the fruits. So in just one activity, there are multiple things which can be learned. And so the idea was that in the same way, in Jainism, just by numbers, we can learn so much more about our own faith. So it was kind of giving an analogy that just simply by 1, 2, 3, 4, and just by numbers, so much more you can learn about our own faith. Obviously, numbers are ubiquitous. They are basically everywhere. We cannot live without numbers. So it's just trying to emphasize that what is the importance of numbers right from all different fields, right from astronomy, medicine, physics, anything, almost all aspects of our lives all have to do with numbers. And to that extent, even the fourth, there's an agam. We have got our main agams, and the fourth agam actually deals with explaining philosophy or Jainism through numbers. So it will say 1 of what, 2 of what, and it goes through all those numbers explaining different aspects of the philosophy just through numbers. And actually, if you actually went into the website, there's an English translation there, so people who are interested, they could go through that. Obviously, we started with number 0, and I won't go through all these 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but essentially going through the different systems, different numbers, and seeing how the summary of this particular 0 was that when we talk of nothing, nothing does not mean something does not exist. So that's a general concept of like zero. Nothing, essentially, whether it's science or spirituality, means you have to conserve matter or energy. And so all what it means that if there's nothing here, does not mean that it's destroyed, it does not exist. It exists, but it's been transformed into something else. So the fact that I can't see anything does not mean that it does not exist. We look at the topic of how one is important, but I think it was recorded, so whoever is interested, you could go through the recording. We can send you the link. So I think we went up to 1, 2, 3. Did we do 4 last week? No. No. Okay, so we went up to 3. So we now come up to 4. So why is 4? 4 is actually quite an interesting number. First of all, this is very common, the Satyo. And again, as you can see that the Satyo, anyone knows that what are the 4 aspects which Satyo denotes? The 4 gatis, yeah. So, animal beings, human beings, hellish and plants. So the 4 gatis. Obviously, these are the 3 dots here. So Samyak Darshim Nan Charitra, so that obviously relates to the 3 jewels, and obviously the top one is the Chit-Shila. Now, 4 is again a very common thing. So when we say of kashayas, so when we talk of karma, influx of karma coming into our soul, there might be various many reasons, but in all scriptures the 4 main ones are this. There could be many subsets, but Krodh, Man, Maya, Lobh, so that 4 are really the big umbrella of karma. So that's 4 is again a very pertinent number there. Let's look at another part, meditation. When we talk of meditation of dhyan in Jainism, it's classified into 4 different types: Artha Dhyan, Raudra Dhyan, Dharma Dhyan, and Shukla Dhyan. And again, those 4 are divided into 2 groups. Artha and Raudra Dhyan are supposed to be kind of evilish contemplation. So, for example, bimar thiya hoy, oh, I'm not feeling too well, amche, or it's just morning. So those kind of the Artha Dhyan. Raudra Dhyan is actually very sort of very negative contemplation of like harming someone. So people are kind of terrorists. You really want to do some really bad things. So that's kind of Raudra Dhyan. So very sort of extreme negative concentration. Dharma Dhyan and Shukla Dhyan are supposed to be more positive forms of meditation. Dharma Dhyan is almost all the positive kind of thinking, and Shukla Dhyan is supposed to be very kind of pure. So it's kind of a gradation from Artha to Shukla Dhyan. Now, the other aspect of 4 is Pudgal, matter. So as we know, there is Jeev and Ajeev. So out of the Ajeev, which is non-consciousness, one of the parts of Ajeev is matter. And what Jainism says, what are the basic principles of matter? So when we say, for example, what's the property of gold? We can say this is melting point, the boiling point, all the different properties. So for matter, the generic properties of matter: color, taste, smell, and touch. So these are the 4 basic properties. So if anything is to be classified as matter, it has to have these 4 categories. It has to have some form of color, some form of taste, smell, and touch. Now, for example, you could say that there are some colors which you can't see. For example, so what it means that the intensity could be very, very less, and sometimes you might not even be able to see it, but it has got some color. So color. So again, it says there are 5 primary types of color: black, blue, red, yellow, and white. That's again what even science says, that you can mix these colors and then come up with different colors. But there's the 5 primary types of colors. Taste is of 5 types, smell again of 2 types, and touch is of 8 types. And again, each of these is a topic in itself, and you can go into so much more detail. But again, let's just focus on 4. Okay. In this touch, it's also very important to realize that again, so when we see that Pudgal has got 4 properties: touch, taste, color, and smell. Touch again is of 8 types. But Jainism again breaks touch into 2 different groups. Some particles of matter have got 4 types of touch, and others have got 8 types of touch. And what Jainism says, for example, I can see this table. So this table has got all these 8 properties. It's either cold or hot, smooth or rough, light or heavy, soft or hard. All these properties are present in something which I can see, touch, you can see. For example, Jainism also says karma is matter. So particles of karma which attach to our soul, they are again matter. But we can't see karma. None of us can see. And what then Jainism says that again, so a particle of karma has only got 4 out of these 8 types of properties. And what's missing here is lightness or heaviness, and I think softness and hardness. So these 4 are actually missing. So it's a different category of matter which has only got 4 out of these 8 types of touch. And therefore it makes sense that if karma does not have this lightness or heaviness, it has got no mass. So if something has got no mass, it cannot be seen, it cannot be detected by science. So it is a particle of matter, we can't see it, and because it does not have any mass, for example, there could be a particle of matter, let's say at the other end of the universe. And as we know that there's Einstein's famous law, E is equal to mc squared, and the maximum speed which matter can travel is the speed of light. So right now what science says, the maximum speed anything can travel, so electrons can travel. So when we talk on the phone, the reason why it's almost instantaneous is because things can travel at the speed of light. So, and that's a maximum speed which people can know in terms of matter. But if you think of karma, a karmic particle could be at the other end of the universe, and in one instant of time can actually come here, because there is no mass inhibiting it. So something could be here right now, and exactly the next instant it can be somewhere else. In the same way, our own soul, our atma che, if we believe in reincarnation, which Jains do, I could be here, and for me to then be in some other, if I have to be reborn in some other part of the universe, there's going to be almost very little time, almost no time. Jainism Tattvata Sutra then describes different ways. It could take 1 turn, 2 turns, how many turns? But almost instantaneously, the soul can go from one point of the universe to another point of the universe, because soul again has got no mass, because obviously soul is totally different, consciousness. So soul does not have any of these properties here. But the fact that it's not there, so it makes sense that again in touch, it's amazing to see how when people say, karma I can't see, but then there's a very solid explanation why there are 2 different types of Pudgal. So some Pudgal have got 8 types of touch, which is all what we can see here. And there are certain types of Pudgal or matter which have only got these 4 types of ones, and which are missing this lightness and heaviness. And when you miss lightness and heaviness, well, I believe there's nothing, no matter how advanced science becomes, they'll never be able to detect that, because it's something which is not detectable by science. There's no empirical measurements, you can't detect it, there's just nothing there. So that's again the 4 touches and the 8 touches. What are the 4? Again, bhavnas, contemplations. Apne Maitri bhavna apne sing kare che. Again, the 4 main bhavnas come here: contemplation, Maitri bhavanu, thinking of a well-being of others, Maitri, friendship; Pramod, thinking of appreciating others; Karuna, thinking of compassion; and Madhyastha, Samta bhav, equanimity. So again, the 4 main bhavanas which comes in the Maitri bhavanu. Lord Tirthankar established 4 main. So when you say Bhagwan is a Tirthankar, so and what does Tirthankar mean? He established, when Bhagwan got Keval Gnan, he established the Jain Sangh. And that's why it's called Tirtha. And Tirtha means that there were four main things he established. The category of monks and nuns, sadhu and sadhvi, and shravak and shravikas. And so these are the four main facets which someone as a Tirthankar he established. Okay, now the religion is going to propagate, and he's going to propagate under these four pillars. You'll have monks, nuns, shravak and shravikas. Shravak and shravikas means those who do not have the willpower or the commitment to become monks and nuns, but they can still follow the religion. This is again a very interesting part. More of all philosophical questions and inferences in scriptures are explained in the sutras with regard to four main things. So kind of discussions are sutra, any kind of discussions, it's with four main things. Dravya, kshetra, kal, ne, bhav. What does dravya mean? Substance. And kshetra means space, kal time, and bhav means modifications. So for example, what does that mean? So if someone asks Bhagwan Mahavir, are you one or are you infinite? So someone asks you, are you just one or are you infinite? So Bhagwan Mahavir then would reply, from a certain perspective, and so that's what this means, that everything which we speak is relative. It's a relative discussion. Okay, I am here, right? Am I existing or am I dead? Well, I can be both. I'm existing because obviously I've got consciousness, but within me there are dead cells within me. So I could also be classified as dead because each one of us have got consciousness, so we are alive, and we also got some dead cells within us, so we could also be said we are dead. So Bhagwan said, are you one or are you infinite? He says, I'm one because I'm here right now when he was on earth, but he says I'm infinite in terms of I had infinite lives. I've had my past life, in the future. So I could be infinite because I'm not only Bhagwan Mahavir. I had so many previous births between me. So I have an infinite number of lives before. So it's all a matter of perspective, and you can then sometimes say Dravya, Kshetra, Kal, and Bhav. And this is almost like how would I describe this? It's almost like a seesaw. So sometimes when you say something, you'll be emphasizing Dravya. So Dravya is more pertinent, but and the other have becomes subsiding. So for example, when we say, is a mango, apne hamna season che, mango is always yellow and it's very ripe. No. If kachi keri hoy, so now time is now going to be very of essence now. I'm just looking at time. Now because it's not ripe, therefore the mango is now green, it's kachi che. And there I'm now literally looking at from a time perspective. So everything else, so I cannot say that, yes, it is true that the mango is yellow in color or it's very ripe in color, but not at this time. At this time, because it's not ripe at this particular time, it's now green in color. So you can see that all these different aspects, sort of they work in unison, and it depends on what you're trying to emphasize. Dravya generally means, when you talk of philosophically, Dravya essentially means something which does not change. So Atma je che, and that's why when you look at Dravya, it has come into two main discussion points, Nischay nahi and Vyahar nahi. So when I say, my soul is pure, everyone's soul is pure, not only mine, but everyone's soul is pure. Yes, from a substance point of view, it's absolutely true that everyone's soul is pure. But is it pure right now? Why am I suffering? Because of karma. So now that becomes relative now. So substance is always looking at the pure qualities of a substance, something which does not change. So for example, gold always, no matter what form gold is in, its melting point, its boiling point, all these properties of gold will always be constant, no matter what form it is in. So that's a substance. The bhav, that depends on the modifications, how things change. What anasubhav, atena ring che, atena no shape, judo cha che. So that again would be different, but gold is gold. So this is known as the modes, and that's known as the substance. Again, we look at scriptures. There are four main Mool Sutras, Daisvaikalik, Uttaradhyan, Avashyak, and Pinda Niryukti. આપણે પ્રતિક્રમણ કરીએ, and especially when you're doing ચૌદસ or when you're doing સંવત્સરી, and we do the અતિચાર. Now અતિચારમાં, if you go to the અતિચાર, what are the transgressions we've done? This again comes quite common, that what are the kind of idle talk which we do? Generally we talk about spirituality, but sometimes we do gossiping and we do kind of chit-chat. So okay, Raj Katha, Desh Katha, Stri Katha, and Bhog Katha. These are the four main areas which people then talk about, which has got no spiritual relevance. Raj Katha, what's happening in politics? Aam Thai, Zulura, Jalera Keche, Raj Katha, Desh Katha in the country, Stri Katha, so sort of, Alo, Aam Kiru, Akiru, and Bhojan, and food. So these are the kind of the four main discussions which people have. Oh yeah, this one here, when karma attaches to the soul, so when karmic particles attach to our soul, four main things happen. Prakriti Bandh, type of karma. What kind of karmas are going to bind to my soul? Is it knowledge obscuring? Is it pain giving? Is it Gotra karma? Is it Ayushya karma? So what kind of types of karma are going to attach to my soul? So that's number one, Prakriti Bandh. Sthiti Bandh, duration. How long is this karma going to give me effect? So these karmas are going to give me effect for this long. So time, duration. And the duration has again got two parts to that. One is, karmas are generally latent. So if I bound the karma now, it means that it might be latent for some period of time. Could be years, could be even lifetime. Okay? Karmas will not sort of give me the fruit until this time has elapsed. And then after the karma comes into fruition, then it depends on how Vednya karma che, so I'm going to be suffering for this period of time. Anubhav, intensity of attachment of karma. Sometimes if you're walking on a stone ma baigu, but imagine like a small thorn, a prick of thorn, that sometimes give you much more pain than actually maybe if you just stepped over a stone. The intensity of pain, just even if it's something small, the intensity could be huge. Pradesh, quantity of karma. So these are particles of karma. How many particles are coming along? So for example, you could have 1 kilogram of lead, or you can have 1 kilogram of cotton. Both are almost 1 kilogram. But can you see that cotton has got so many much more particles, but it's still soft. It's not giving you that much effect. If you had 1 kilogram of cotton on your hand, that's not going to be that much, it's going to be not giving that much more pain or burden or heaviness to you, whereas 1 kilogram of lead. Well, the weight is going to be the same, but the feeling, the effect. So the quantity, how much quantity do you have, Pradesh? So you could have one particle of karma coming in and giving you much more intensity, or you could have millions of karmic particles attaching to your soul, but the effect is going to be very minimal. So that's kind of the Pradesh, how much quantity of karma particles attaching to your soul. Any questions? Is that clear? As I said, the idea is they are talking on so many different topics and jumping around, just the lessons before. So this is just to give an idea of different areas, and obviously if there's more interest or if these are going to be separate, because each of these is a topic in itself. Again, another important part, there are 4 types of gods, devs, which we mean by devs, which Jains believe in, and they are Bhuvanapatis, they live in areas in kind of the lower part of the universe. Then the other one which are called Vyantar Dev, Jyotishi Dev, and the last is Vaimanik Dev, which is right at the top part. So there are again 4 types of devs which the scriptures describe. Mantras can be again of 4 types: Pinda, Kartari, Bij, and Mala Mantra. Pind mantras have only 1 letter, Om or Reem. These have got 2 letters, Bij mantras have 3 to 9 letters, and Mala mantras have many more letters or syllables. So again, this is just some fact which I found. So that's on number 4. Now, let's look at number 5. 5 is an amazing number. Can you imagine 5 fingers, 5, we've got 5 digits, 5 toes, 5 senses. So essentially, Jains say that no matter how life evolves, the maximum number of senses one can get is just 5 senses. And so that's why we as humans are at kind of the highest level of evolution. We have got 5 levels of senses. So in one way, there is no difference between us and an elephant. An elephant has also got 5 senses, and something on above which we have is got mind, which animals, or at least 5 sense animals, which they don't have. But in terms of senses, you could have 1 sense, 2 sense, 3, touch, taste, color, smell, and hearing. So these are the 5 senses which any forms of beings will have. So that's again 5 is important there. Another one, Panch Mahavrat. These are kind of this is kind of fundamental to Jain. So when we say that someone has become a monk or nun, sadhu baina, and what have they done? They have taken the 5 Mahavrats. So they've taken the 5 main vows which have taken, and that sort of denotes that someone has become a monk or nun. And everyone knows that non-violence, ahimsa, brahmacharya, aparigra, non-possession, asatya, non-stealing, and truth. So these are the 5 core fundamental principles which someone takes, and they follow it to a very minute level of detail, as opposed to us lay monks and also. They could be followed anuvrats, not the mahavrats, the anuvrats. And the anuvrats are much more, there are 12 anuvrats. So that's, but for the monks and nuns, those have become like the 5 mahavrats. this is again amazing. If someone asks, Jain's local, for example, when you have Christians, they'll say we have the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Anyone asks the Jains, who do you believe in? And the basic bottom line is, Jains believe in Panch Parmeshti. So essentially, Panch Parmeshti, what denotes is all our attention, all our focus, all our devotion is focused on this Panch Parmeshti. There are some Panchayata we can see that Arihant, Siddh, Acharya, Upadhyay, Sadhu. And it's such a core principle, our Navkar mantra has got this Panch Parmeshti. So everything revolves around the Panch Parmeshti. And that's essentially what the focus of Jain devotion is, the Panch Parmeshti. And it starts with sadhu, monks and nuns. Then it goes on to upadhyayas. Upadhyayas will be who have become sadhus, but they are a little bit more learned. Then it follows to acharyas, who are sort of the congregational leaders. And Jains believe that in the absence of Tirthankars, they are the ones who give direction to the philosophy. And then we come to Siddhanam and Arihantanam. And I think by this time, most of you would know the distinction between Siddhanam and Arihantanam. So Siddhanam means anyone. So for example, when Bhagavan Mahavir was on earth, he was a Tirthankar, he was not a Siddhanam. So Siddhanam means someone who does not have a body, they've got rid of their karmas. And so therefore they become Siddh. So they've gone into the heaven which you call Moksha. Arihants could be like Bhagavan Mahavir, or right now who is an Arihant? Simandar Swami. So Simandar Swami and the other 20 other Tirthankars in a different part of the universe, Mahavidya Kshetra, which Jains believe in. So they are now the Arihants right now, in this current period right now. So they would have a human body, and they are the Tirthankars, so they've got rid, out of the 8 karmas, they've got rid of the 4 Ghati karmas. So if you get rid of the main 4 core karmas, then you've got Keval Gnan. And you still have got a body, and then when you then sort of die, then you go to Siddh. So then you become a Siddhanam. So Arihantanam, Siddhanam, so these are the 5 Panch Parmeshti. If you look at the Sanskrit word Om again obviously has got very different denotations. For the Hindus, it's got its own significance, but for the Jains, they break out Om as A-A-A-U-M, Om. So that's how they break down the syllables of Om. First A, second A, third A, A, U, So Om. And what is there are 3 A letters here. So the first one is obviously Arihant. The second one is Ashariri. And what does Ashariri mean? Someone without a body. And who is someone without a body? So the Siddha Bhagwans. So Arihant, Siddh, and then third A is for Acharya, U for Upadhyaya, and M for Muni or Sadhu. So that even just like reciting the word Om, the Panch Parmeshti gets encapsulated within just reciting Om. So then again, the 5 is there. I briefly mentioned, if someone asked, what is the reality in the universe? And last time we discussed that Jains believe there are 6 fundamental realities in the universe. We say Jeev, consciousness is a fundamental reality of the universe. Pudgal, matter. Dharmastikaya, Adharmastikaya, Akash, space, and there was time. Now, so there were 6. There are essentially 6 fundamental realities in the universe. But in terms of Astikaya, there are just 5. And what does Astikaya mean? If you look at this, soul, matter, medium of rest, or space, they have got horizontal integration. So for example, space can have length, width, and breadth. So soul can also expand or contract. Matter can expand and contract. So everything has got a kind of a vertical and horizontal expansion and contraction. Dharmastikaya, we know, pervades the entire universe. Dharmastikaya does, and even Akash is all over. So Kal, which is time does not have that. You can't say time is this height. Time has got a horizontal integration, not vertical but horizontal. So time you can only say past, present, and future. So time does not become an Astikaya. Only 5 Astikayas. Astikaya means Asti means existing, and Kaya means extension. That's what Astikaya means. Asti means something is existing. Asti. And Nasti means does not exist. So Asti means something which exists, and Kaya means extension. Anything which can extend. Length, breadth, height. So anything which can do that, that's Kaya. So Astikaya are 5, and time is considered to be a reality. So there are 6 fundamental realities, but it does not become Astikaya because it's only got horizontal integration. Past, present, future does not have these dimensions. One of the key things when monks have taken their vows, these are the kind of the 5 core principles that they have to adhere to. Irya Samiti, Bhasa Samiti, Ashna Samiti, Adan Samiti, and Utsarg Samiti. Regulation of walking. So these are things they have to be so careful about in their day-to-day activities. Walking, speaking. Begging means taking alms. What kind of alms, food they're going to be taking. Regulation of taking or keeping. How am I going to put stuff here? So for example, if I just take this pencil and throw it somewhere, there could be an ant down there which might get hurt. So you have to be very careful on how I place things. They look at every single thing in a very minute detail. And regulation of disposal, how they dispose of things. Again, 5 good characteristics, 5 Bhushan. Firm belief in right belief, Jainism cannot be disturbed, does work to promote Jainism. So these are kind of good characteristics from a Jain point of view. Practices Jainism to achieve liberation, spiritual affection, and provide services to sadhus, sadhvis. Anything else before I move on? Yeah.
Just one thing, you were mentioning 5 senses. Actually, there are 6 senses. Now they've discovered there's a sense of balance in your ears.
Yeah.
Just actually a sense. That's how it,
Yeah, it's a sense, but then again would come with hearing. So hearing does not mean it's just hearing.
No, that's separate. Hearing is connected to a different thing, and sensing is a balancing to is different. Scientists, this is what now they're saying we actually have 6 senses, not 5. Originally we believed 5, but they just hearing is regulated by different things, and sensing mechanism is regulated differently.
And what about if it's a tree, for example? Something which is totally still.
We're talking about trees, we're talking about ourselves.
Okay. Yeah, so I think when we talk of these things, these are kind of generic statements, and then science can come up with its own manifestations. And again, what happens in this kind of stuff, when you talk of 5, there could be sub-classification of that also.
But this is separate.
Yeah, okay, so 6 sense, okay.
Check up on it, yeah, but it's come about now.
Right.
Rajeev Shah, ashram, there are five poses of ashram,
I think 5 or 6, that ashram is coming somewhere.
Oh, coming, okay, don't worry.
Yeah, I think it's coming in the next slides, yeah. And again, as I said, this is just a sample because in the interest of time, I only managed to whatever came into my mind or whatever I could research. When you explore, in fact, when I was thinking, even if you just took number 1, 2, and 3, you could almost take an entire year and just talk on each of these topics. The more you read, the more you find out. You can just explore and explore. So this is just a sample of whatever came across my mind. This is not an exhaustive list.
Yeah.
So it's just, and obviously it's, yeah, if it would be nice for you to contribute. Yeah, in fact, summaries of 6 kinds here. So,
okay.
so
Yeah.
and again, what happens is, like, no tattva. Some people believe in 7 tattva and some people no, and sometimes they group certain things into one.
Yeah.
So these are all sort of, some of them they are subjective. So okay, let's look at 6. 6, 6 avashyak. Avashyak means essential duties. So for example, the Muslims would have their own avashyaks. Pray this many times a day, do this, do that. So essential duties which people have to do almost every day. The 6 avashyaks which are given are Samayak, Chauvisato, Vandan, Pratikaman, Kayotsak, and Pratkan, taking vows. These are kind of the 6 essential duties which it's advocated for people to perform every day. And even when we do the Samayak or when we do Pratikaman, all these 6 then get encapsulated within that Samayak. Chauvisato means apne locus boli, 24 भगवान apne adoration करे. Vandan, Pratikaman is to repent. Kayotsak is kind of that feeling of body and soul is different, and typically it's being done by in this posture here and reciting the logos. But Kayotsak actually means Kaya means body, Utsarg means separation. Kayotsak, that I am away, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. And in fact, that's again Sadhguru whispers. He's also got a very nice meditation. If you listen, I am not the body, I'm the soul. So again, that's Vasudev Sadhguru. He has also got does the same. So it's a kind of form of Kayotsak, Pratyakhyam. Now, when you look at the first agam, Acharan Sutra, which is the first agam, if someone says, I don't want to read any scriptures, can you just tell me what do I need to know? And they're saying, just as the Buddhists have got the 4 noble truths. So for the Buddhists, they'll say, Dukh, there is suffering, there is cause of suffering, there is an end to suffering, and there's a path through suffering. So these are known as the 4 noble truths for the Buddhist religions. For the Jains, they come up with these 6. These are the 6 fundamental things which people should have faith in and believe in. First thing is soul exists, Atma Che. So obviously you can use all your mental rationality, Che, Nati, can you prove it to me scientifically, all that. Irrespective of that, first of all, you have to believe soul exists. So many years ago, someone could have said, I don't believe in gravity. Well, gravity is the effect of gravity is still there. Whether you want to believe in gravity or not, it's irrespective, you can believe it or not. But one cannot dispute if gravity is there, because if something is falling, that says someone discovered it. So from our perspective, soul is fundamental, so Atma exists. And this is coming from the Acharam Sutra, right in the beginning. It is eternal. Soul is eternal, and that's a very fundamental concept. No one has created the soul. No one has created, because that becomes fundamental in many other faiths, who has created the soul. And then you get into that infinite circle. Okay, if someone created my soul, who created that person? Or God created my soul, then who created God? And then if someone created God, then who created? And just, it can go on and on. So essentially, Jains believe that the soul has always been existing, soul exists, and soul always will exist. So soul never gets destroyed, just as matter. Matter does not get destroyed. Matter will get transformed, but matter can never get destroyed. So matter and soul both have that similar properties. They are eternal, and there can be no transformation. There can be transmutation, but no transformation. Soul cannot become matter, and matter cannot become soul. You can change. So you can put silver and some other particles of matter together and create a brass alloy. You can do that kind of transformation, but not transmutation, but not transformation. You cannot transform one through the other. It is a doer of karma. Very fundamental concept. The soul itself is a doer of karma. And such a fundamental concept, he did this to me. But why did he do it to you? There must have been some reason for that. You yourself must have done something for you to get that effect. That person became instrumental cause. But the eventual cause is yourself. Many things could have happened and could have been instrumental cause, but the ultimate cause is you and yourself. It is a doer of karma. It bears its consequences. There is liberation, very similar to the Buddhist, and there is a way to liberation, marg, che. So almost very, very similar. And this essentially is really the fundamental of this, which is mentioned in the Acharam Sutra. We discussed the 6 universal substances in the previous one: Jeev, Pudgal, Dharmastikaya, Adharmastikaya, Akash, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, Akash and Kal. Kal is time. And obviously the 5 they are the Astikayas, and the 6th is not an Astikaya. Samvar, what does Samvar mean? Stoppage of karma. If I want to stop karma, there again it says 6 things. Samiti. So we look at the Samiti which is in the previous slide here, the 5 Samitis. So if you are very careful in walking, so that's one way of actually avoiding karma. And Amapan, if you go into, for example, Banditu Sutra, it comes Anartha Dand. Anartha Dand, it's one kind of vow. So for example, if you're walking, and you're just leisurely walking, and if you're just literally kicking stones around, so that's kind of doing Anartha Dand. So you're walking, but you're just kicking, that stone could roll over and hurt some minute beings. Why are you doing that? Purposeless violence. Or you could have it going for a picnic and just plucking glass out of boredom. Let's pluck glass. Just talking to someone and just plucking glass. So these are kind of activities which are not serving any purpose. If I'm going to pluck a fruit because I want to feed my stomach, fine. There's some form of violence, but there's a purpose behind it. I'm going there's with certain purpose. But otherwise, there could be some purposeless gossip, and all this kind of stuff are all purposeless. So all these things are very important. They're all means of attracting karma. Gupti, restraint. Tan Gupti, Man Gupti, Vachan Gupti, and Kaya Gupti. Most of the Jainism, everything which we do, any karmas which are bound, are through 3 ways: mind, body, and speech. I could be thinking of someone. So generally, like in the court of law, most common thing is, did I see you doing something? It does not go extend up to your intention. That's very difficult to prove. Okay, what is the intention behind it? So most of the things, right or wrong, is basically through actions which you can see. But essentially, it's not only that, it's mind, body, and speech. So we can bind any of these karmas or do any activities through these 3 ways, 3 Gupti. And that's why it's called restraint. You can restrain your mind, you can restrain your speech, you can restrain your bodily actions. Yati Dharma, Dharma for sadhu, bhavnas, mental reflections. this is a very, very nice way. In fact, recently listening to Rakesh Bhai Zaveri, he was saying bhavnas are almost like pills. And after the blood pressure, so I blood pressure pill levi che. If I've got some other headache, I'll have a different pill. Bhavnas are reflections and contemplations, and you can have different kinds of contemplations, and different contemplations will help you in different ways. Today you're feeling very stressed, you'll have a different kind of bhavna. Today you're not feeling too well, today you're feeling egoistic. Whatever you're feeling, and you can have different bhavnas which will bring you back to your core. So these are all different contemplations, and you can pick and choose as to what you want. Parisha, suffering. This is very classic. And Parisha essentially means suffering, and this is actually counterintuitive. In fact, last week there was a talk by Shamnijis, and they were talking about the same thing about Parisha. All our objective is to get rid of suffering. Why would I want to willfully suffer myself? So that was a question posed. All of us are here to see if any form of suffering. Our whole objective is I want to get rid of my karmic suffering, I want to get rid of my physical suffering, I want to get rid of suffering. Why would I want to engage myself to actually invite suffering? And kind of to cut the long story short, what she was suggesting is suffering is sometimes let me bear suffering to relieve myself of suffering. So it's kind of counterintuitive. So for example, what happens is in a very generic way, there are so many people who go to the gym. Why would I want to go to the gym? To have a very healthy body. And if I want to have a healthy body, then I can actually live longer and a healthy life. And Jains take that one step further. Yes, I need to eat healthy, I need to keep my body healthy, I need to have asanas, I need to do all these different exercises, postures. But why? So that I can then actually have a healthy body and I can practice spirituality to almost to the end of my life properly. So it just extends that one notch beyond that all this is important. So sometimes I might need to say, some of you might have personal trainers, and what the personal trainers do this, and it's going to be very painful. So you're going to go through the painful effort, but eventually it's going to be for your own benefit. So very same way, sometimes you'll be inviting some sufferings to become stronger. Yes, I can become stronger through invitation of some form of suffering. So top hunger, mosquitoes bites kari gaya, charitra is conduct. Number 6, lashyas. Now lashyas are again very important. Lashyas are almost way of thinking. What's your mental thought at every stage of time? Do you have a very pure thinking, or do you have a kind of negative kind of attitude? So it's kind of your contemplation, and the lashyas can keep on changing at different times. So right now you could be having a pure lashya, you could go away. So that keeps on changing. And all what it means is, for example, I won't go through all of them. Someone wants the fruit from a tree. So someone will say, let me cut the whole tree. So that's actually the worst form of lashya, the black. So to satisfy your need, you are willing to cut the entire tree. So that if the tree falls down, you'll get the fruit and you'll satisfy your hunger. Someone will say, I don't want to do that, let me just cut a branch. And then if that branch falls, then I'll get my fruit. So that's slightly better than cutting the whole tree. And you can keep on going. Someone will say that rather than cutting the branch, I'll just pluck the fruit. And someone will say the most purest form is, I don't want to cut the tree, I'll just take the fallen apples which have fallen down. So I just want to satisfy my hunger, I don't need to touch the tree, I'll just take anything which has fallen down. And that's the white kind of, pure kind of thinking. Again, 6 is quite important here. Jains believe in a time cycle, and in that time cycle is the first ara, the first wheel of the, and goes down to 6 downward and 6 upwards. So these are the kind of 6 spokes of the wheel of time. Generally, Jains, we believe that we are in the 5th ara right now. So we are in the 5th spoke of time, and then as time goes on, it will go to the 6th, suffering and everything will keep on increasing, and then again it will then go from 6 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the whole cycle repeats. So Jains believes that, and you know what, in this could be billions or trillions of years. And for example, in some way it actually seems quite reasonable to me that you could have almost total destruction, and then you could have the Big Bang kind of theory which science talks about. Now there's going to be all creation of life. So in my mind, there could be some kind of similarities between both of them. There's destruction, almost to the point of ultimate destruction. That means the entire earth as we know it would self-destruct. And obviously through the human, main input of the humans. And then after that, self-destructions and also natural calamities. And then again, you could almost have a point of a point that everything has gone, and then you could have that kind of big bang. Now things are creating again, and then going on. And what Jains believe in is this is an endless cycle going on. So when we believe how many Tirthankas do you have, we've got 24 Tirthankas in one time cycle, but there could be 24 Tirthankas, an endless number of Tirthankas which are common from time immemorial. So from infinite past, right now, and this time will keep on going on for forever and ever. So there's no end to this. These spokes will just keep on continuing. So 6 downwards, Utsarpini and Avsarpini, what they call it. Any questions? 6. Again, every mantra has 6 aspects. A seer, a melody, presiding deity, seed sound, the power, Shakti and a pillar. In fact, many of this information I've actually got from Vinod Bhai Kapasi's book, Nav Smaran. In fact, he's going to give a talk here next week. And if you're interested, it's in English and a phenomenal book on all the 9 main prayers. And I think he did his PhD on that. And so many of these things I've actually taken from his book. It's called the Nav Smaran, and it's in Gujarati and in English. So every mantra has got these 6 aspects. The seers were able to recognize the power of a sound and therefore served as a guide. The melody or rag means chanting a mantra in some sort of harmony. So for example, આપણે ઘણીવાર બોલે છીએ what's the prayer વીર નહીં પણ આપણે slip out of my mind. But for example, if you're reciting Bhaktamar, so we say Bhaktamar Pranata Mauli Mani Prabhana. So that would be one rag. Then another, and that's called the Vasantalika rag. The other one would be Acharya Arihant. Oh, yeah, Arahanto. So Arahanto Bhagavanta Indra Mahita. So that's again a different rag. So that rag, so that would be. So the vibration of sound is based on the integral part of the mantra. The presiding deity, Devta, is a personal aspect of the God. Many of these mantras have got Parshvanath Bhagwan's mantra, Adeshwar Bhagwan's mantra. So they've got some kind of link. So you're linking that mantra to some kind of higher spiritual entity. Om Parshvanathaya Namah. So again, it can describe the Bij mantra, and it says, so every mantra has got six. Now, the other one is, Jains believe there are 6 types of soul. Earth beings, air, fire, water, body beings, plant beings, and mobile beings. So can you see the different kinds of classification? Then we say there are 4 gatis, and they could be you could go into the animal kingdom, plant kingdom, hellish beings, and heavenly beings. Now you can see now the similar kind of classification, and Jain say that there are 6 types of soul. These are again sort of earth, air, fire, water, plant body beings, and mobile beings. And mobile beings are બધા. So we could have come, animals would come, hellish beings come, and devtas can come. They're all classified into this mobile beings. So all those classifications then fit into this. So essentially, Jains believe that any consciousness, any types of soul can go within these 6 domains. Yeah.
Am I giving the example of this 6 types of souls? So like if you say earth, the soul it belongs to earth. What will be the
Earth એટલે આપણે કે ને કે પૃથ્વીકા એટલે earth living beings એટલે આપણે માટીમાં જે છે. So essentially it's not only soul but actually living beings within that. Air આપણે breathe કરીએ છીએ તો air would have the air bodied beings. પાણી, we say it's H2O, but we believe there are water bodied beings in there. So it's a so your own self has now your own soul has taken the property of now you're being in the water bodied.
because when you say the humans are mobile beings, so what is body being then?
Yeah, so that's quite interesting. There are some scriptures which actually classify air and fire as actually mobile because there's some so again the Digambars and Swetambars and some others then they classify. What's quite interesting is that when you read through the scriptures, many of these topics again have a lot of people doing research and finding that there are different connotations to different ideas. So some people can say, yeah, fire actually can move, fire can propagate. So that's actually it's mobile. But then the question being is fire moving because of its own volition? Does the fire want to move? Or because the air or something else is actually sweeping it around? So the fire-bodied being does not have its own control that I can move. But it's being swept around because of some external factor. So whereas mobile beings it's your own choice. I want to move from here to here. Animals, they're using their thing. I need to get that. So you have got your own volition to say I want to move. And if you look at the Acharang Sutra, it then again goes into a lot more detail. For example, they're saying water-bodied beings are quite unique amongst all the other categories of beings because water-bodied beings fight one another. So, how does it mean by fight one another? If there's hot water steam and there is a cold water, so boiling water and cold water, when they got together, then they're actually harming one another. So that boiling water is actually killing the souls of that cold water beings. Then we can actually see that humans and humans killing one another. That we can see right now. The suicide bombers.
I'm thinking from a very low level of knowledge. So I think water-bodied beings mean the fish and other things. But
No.
you said no.
No.
That's
Actual water itself is
One
below.
sense beings.
It's one sense being.
Water, you can't see.
maybe my knowledge level is.
Yeah. And I think again this yeah.
So that's separate from things like bacteria in the water.
Yeah. So water itself. So it is. Sorry, it's different from.
Bacteria or
Microbes
things
and
like
Yeah. Water in itself is because you yourself will have actually got many microbes. The whole point of the digestive system is you got so many bacteria in your own gut. So those are separate. So you and your own soul is distinct from whatever you have. So even when a lady is pregnant, so obviously that's got a soul in it. But two different entities. You can't say they are one entity.
Bacteria and virus should be ekendriya,
No.
They're all ekindriya. Yeah. Because essentially you can see these are all ekindriya beings, then plant and then mobile beings. And again, plant ma apan apne jare 7 lakh bole che, again there's different classification. So one plant with one soul or one plant with many. So in one plant can have many souls within it. So I'm not an expert in this topic here, but some people believe, for example, like eating potatoes, it's like one body but with lots of souls within it. But that's said in scriptures, and I don't want to go into because that's a very debatable topic of whether it's right or wrong, can you prove it or not. But that's one school of thought that one of the people believe કે આપણે 7 લાખમાં પણ આવે છે 7 લાખ પૃથ્વીકાય 7 લાખ અપકાય દેવકાય ભવકાય 10 લાખ પ્રત્યેક વનસ્પતિકાય પ્રત્યેક means one body and one soul 10 લાખ પ્રત્યેક 10 લાખ સાધારણ વનસ્પતિકાય so vanaspati means plant body sadharan means one plant with many souls within it. But to what extent then so that plant bodies again has got a sub classification. This is a very difficult topic, Samudgat. Now, Samudgat is a very complex topic of Jainism, and what it means is soul projection. It's almost like you could be saying that it's like Harry Potter writing science fiction. And in a nutshell, I mean, I'm not an expert. In fact, one of the Shramnijis here, she's right now doing a PhD on the concept of Samudgat in Jain philosophy at SOAS, School of African and Oriental Studies. So she's right now doing a PhD. She's in a final year doing his PhD. And Samudgat, what it means is soul projection. So for example, one example of Samudgat is, say for example, Bhagwan Mahavir, or anyone wants to liberate. So now your time is up, you now have to go to moksha. But when you have to go to moksha, the amount of karma within your soul is still so much more that you do not have enough time, your lifespan does not have enough time to actually get rid of that karma. So then the concept is, through some mystical powers, you can project your soul out of the body. So you can say, okay, let me now project my soul. My soul is actually getting out of my body. It's expanding across the entire universe. So my soul has now expanded across the entire universe. And then whatever pain and suffering has to be has born, I'm going to do that in the state of expansion. So it's a question of how can my soul move away from my body, sort of move across, and then either come back to the same body. So that it's a kind of a projection of soul outside.
Is it similar to some people say, sometimes their soul leaves and they can see themselves, when someone's had an accident or something like that? Is that similar?
Yeah, if they can, it's a question of soul projection out of the body, and then coming back. And it's even much more. So for example, it goes into so much more detail because I've been actually assisting her with editing her PhD thesis, and it's almost like suggesting. So for example, what happens when I'm going at the time of death? When I'm going at the time of death, does my soul actually go from here? Is my body formed first, or first is my soul going there and then my body gets formed? So am I good, or is that a concurrent process right now? So it's a whole question of what happens at the time of death. What happens, for example, in scriptures they're written people had some very mystical powers, like when they're Chakravartis. So these are great emperors, and the great emperors had a way of projecting their might. I could be standing here and I could be having my effect of directing my energy across a long, far away. So they can actually project their soul outside their body. So it's a very complex, as you can see, emanation, partial emanation at the time of approaching death, transformational emanation, and it's a very complex topic, but they are saying there are 6 kinds of samudgat one can do. Seven. Okay. 7. Okay. The Swatambar Agam Samavyan Sutra has mentioned the following 7 fears. Now again, as you can see, this particular Agam has mentioned the 7 fears. Does not mean there are only 7 types of fears. If you look at the Bhaktama Sutra, it has got some other more kinds of fears. But these are the main generic fears which are mentioned in this particular sutra. Fear of this world, fear of the next life, fear of shortage of food, fear of accident, fear of loss of earning for one's livelihood, death and disgrace. In fact, I do not know how many of you know the Vanditu Sutra. One of the gathas is very, very nice. Iya loye par loye, jiviye varane asansapoke, panchaviyo ayaro, ma majja huja maranante. At the time of death, may I not have the fear of this life, the fear of next life, and there are the 5 other things which they have mentioned, that these are the 5 things, please, at the time of death, I do not want to have this. And so that's a very nice one which comes in, that you want to be in a very equanimous state here. Okay, whatever's happened, that's fine, but I do not want to have that fear of this world or fear of the next world. Iya loye par loye. Again, there are 7 types of beliefs ranging from mithyatva to samyaktva. Again, it goes into this, and this is very relevant when we look at the Chaud Gunasthan. And those Chaud Gunasthans are stages of spiritual development. So someone who does not have any belief, and then someone who has got utmost belief and progressing. So this is saying so mithyatva, someone who does not believe in anything. Mithyatva to almost samyaktva. And there are different categories, and there are 7 categories which are given. So some could have a mix. I have some faith, but I don't have ultimate faith. So Misra. Misra is one form. Shaik. Shaik means total destructions of wrong faith. So it goes into the 7 categories. This is again a very complex topic of Nai. And so Jains say that when they are actually discussing scriptures, then, for example, we have a debate. And in debates, then these are the different ways of how you can put an argument forward. Naigam view, Sangraha view, and I think I gave we discussed this in one of the Jain classes, but this is another topic which they are saying that these are 7 kind of nais, the main ways of putting forward one's argument. So for example, let's give a simple example. Okay, if there's a doctor here, he'll say, came to doctor. But the doctor is not a doctor because he's not treating a patient right now. So a doctor is only a doctor when the doctor is actually the surgery. So you cannot say, so if our teacher, no, our teacher not here. So when you're having discussions and when you're having debates on some of these things, you have to be so careful. So I'm now looking from a literal meaning, sabda. So from this thing, for example, bhiksha. A lot of the sadhus are called bhikshu kareshe. So bhiksha is a sadhu is always being he's called a bhikshu is only if he's begging for alms. Otherwise, he's not called a bhikshu. So sadhu is another term for sadhus is ke ajo bhikshu. But in literal sense, no, the sadhu is not he's not a bhikshu because he's not going for alms. No. So it's all sort of saying that when you are having discussions, from what angle are you going to be talking about, and therefore you can then counter-argue. And this was very, very prevalent when there used to be discussions between the Hindu scholars, the Buddhist scholars, and the Jain scholars, and then you could have all these classifications of how you want to portray your I find the vertical height of Lord Mahavir was 7 arms length. આપણે ચૈત્યવંદન કરે ભગવાન મહાવીરનું ચૈત્યવંદન. So ચૈત્યવંદન is something when the Svetambars, when they go to Derasar, that's one of the rituals they follow. ને ભગવાન મહાવીરનું આવે છે ભગવાન મહાવીરનું આવે છે સિદ્ધારત સુત વંદિયે ત્રિશ્લાનો જાયો ક્ષત્રિય કુન અવતર્યો સૂર્ય નરપતિ ગાયો મૃગકલંચન પાવલે 7 હાથની કાયા. So ભગવાન મહાવીરનું description આપે છે કે ભગવાન મહાવીર had 7 હાથની કાયા. So what it says, his body's height was 7 hath. That is description. Now let's imagine, okay, right now we have this measurement of feet. 1 feet, 2 feet, 3 feet, and that perhaps that 1 feet is actually similar to in length to our 1 feet. We do not know what the measurement of heart was. Maybe there were giant bodies at that time, so their one heart does not mean it was this length. There could be this length. But the description is that Bhagwan Mahavir was 7 हात निकाया, 72 वर्ष न आउखु. He just stubborn Mahavir. So his lifespan was 72 years, but his height was 7 हात निकाया, 7 arms length. So that's again comes in the scriptures. What that dimension is, that's again open to discussion. This is again a very interesting one. 7. We believe that there are 7 chakras within the body, 7 centers of consciousness. And again, as you can see, root chakra, solar, heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye, crown chakra, and many meditation techniques, whether it's Hindu, whether it's I think Buddhist, or even within the Jains, they have all these kind of meditations. They say focus on this particular center of consciousness, either use some color, use some sound, and this is one form of meditations that many people follow. What's very, very interesting is, if you look at these centers of consciousness, it actually aligns very much more to the endocrine glands of the human body. So if you look at the endocrine glands, pineal gland, thyroid gland, thymus, adrenal gland, they are all here. And so there is a school of thought saying that the chakras, which we call chakras in spirituality, is nothing else than these centers of the endocrine glands. And so you are actually then focusing on this, on the heart chakra. So again, 7 of them, and ties in very much more to this endocrine glands and the. Again, I won't go into this. This is a map of the Jain universe, and this again it's a very vast topic here. But you can see they are in the Jambudip. Jambudip, it's a very, very vast topic. I mean, this could almost be an entire terms of topic of describing what do the Jains believe in terms of the Jain universe. But again, as you can see in someone here, because I was just focusing on where can I find 7, and there are 7 regions expounded: Bharat, Hemavat, Mahavijay, Kshetra, Ramayak. And so these are the 7 regions which are described in the Jain universe. Again, what Jains describe is in terms of 7. Jains believe that there are 7 hells. So this is where we are, the middle universe, and there are different categories of hells coming here. So there are 7 of those. Another way 7 comes in is, this is the Jain universe, and what they say is the dimension of from this to this end is 7 Rajju. Now, for example, when we look at astronomy, we talk in terms of light years, this many light years away. Jains talk of in terms of Rajjus, which means like rope, how it's being translated into the scriptures. What the dimension is, we don't know. That what does 1 Rajju mean, how big it is, that no one knows. We can't say that 1 Rajju is 1 light year or this many light years. But the description given in the scriptures is that this dimension is 7 Rajju. So all what we know, or we can infer, that the universe is finite. It does not mean that the universe is infinite. So it's 7 Rajjus here, 7 Rajjus from here to here, so middle part of the universe to the lower end of the universe, 7 from the middle to the top. So Chaud Lok. So this is like the dimension is 14 Rajjus is the dimension of the universe. So again 7 and 7, and then obviously it goes into the description, and that's why this is called like a human, like a Purush. So it's like a human being standing with the feet apart. So that's sometimes also depicted like that in the scriptures, in the form of personified as a human. Eight. Okay. The key thing is, if someone asks how many karmas there are, 8 karmas. And we looked at it, 4 ghati karmas and 4 aghati karmas, so 8 kinds of karmas. That's the sum total of all the karmas which can affect any jeev. Ghati karma, aghati karma. What are the 8 qualities of samyaktva? Someone having the right faith. Samyaktva means right faith. Devotion, remorse, bhakti, ninda, repentance, gara. Now, again, this comes in Bhangdita Sutra very much. Tam nindami tam garayami. So again, these words, ninda, remorse, and repentance comes very much in this. Vatsalya, loving, freedom of fear, freedom from fear, unswerving conviction, edification, and visitation of the Tirth Seva. So these are the 8 qualities of Samyaktva. In Bhattamar, the following 8 fears have been mentioned. fear of elephant, lions, fire, snakes, war, water, diseases, and imprisonment. So Bhaktamar again, it's got 44 or 48 slokas, and this comes quite frequently of fear of this. The 8 types of divine achievements, Mahasiddhis, ability to become as small as an atom. So if you can see, for example, the soul has got this power. So if someone could be a dev, an angel, and they've got the ability to become as small as an atom. So that's one of the powers which the heavenly beings have. They can become as large as Mount Meru. So you can expand your soul so you can become very large. You can become very heavy. You can become quite light. Ability to get things when you wish for them, prapti. Ability to behave as you wish. Ability to control other things around you. Ability to control other person. So these are some kind of achievements, siddhis, with divine achievements. Through spiritual purification, you can achieve this. Again, Jain scripture Sthanam Sutra narrates 8 types of forecasting skills. Not financial forecasting, but predicting earthquakes, predicting calamities. So these are all the 8 kinds of events which are given, which you can forecast. This is also very important here. Jains believe, and this comes in the Bhaktamar Sutra very much, that when the Tirthankar is there are some 8 special qualities which come around. There is an Ashok tree. So there is actually a tree behind the Tirthankar and enveloping the Tirthankar. So Ashok tree, shower of flowers, Dev-Devyus are actually coming flowers, divine voice, the big chamar, the throne, Sihasan. In fact, when JVB had one of its Diwali function, there was a Sihasan which was created. So that's where the Tirthankar is sitting, halo around the Tirthankar, Dundubi, and the triple canopies, Trichhatra. So Bhagavan Parshva had 8 disciples. The 8 kinds of pride when people can have. And I'll just finish off the last one, 9. I think there's quite a more. 9 is again a very special one. 9 tattva. That's again a very fundamental core part of the Jain philosophy. 9 tattvas. That's one thing. 9 graha. Planetary systems. People, Jains believe that there are different planetary effects which can affect people. A lot of the Hindus also believe that Shani mane nade che, and then people wear some kind of viti pere ke Shani aperi, so it will negate the effect. So these are all the kind of graha which can affect people. Brahaspati, Surya, Mangal. So there are 9 types of the planetary effects. Naukar mantra is called Nau Pad. So that's again a very fundamental 9 pads of the Naukar mantra. 9 again is very special number here. If I give you any number, 6784, 673, any number I give you, how do you know whether the number is divisible by 9 or not? Anyone know? Any number which is given to you, how would you know? Yeah?
We add all the digits and if it's a multiple of 9.
9. Yeah. And that's 9. So that's very true. So you add any numbers which is given to you, just add all the digits up, and the sum of that, if it's divisible by 9, then you know that's going to be divisible by 9. And in one way, if you just look at it in a very broad perspective, all what it means in my mind is you want to be focused towards, no matter what you do in life, you want to be focused towards spirituality. And so that 9 is kind of quite a mystical number. In fact, if I look at what Vinod Bhai has written, this is from Vinod Bhai's book. Throughout Indo geopolitical history, Jains have lived alongside the large population of Hindus. Hindu traditions. Now this is other one. Let me just show you the importance of 9. This is the book he's written, the 9 Nav Smaran. So these are the 9 auspicious mantras which are known. Namaskar mantra, Uvasagram, Santikaram, Tijay Pavuta, Namayuna, Ajit Shanti, and Bhaktamar. So these are the 9 most important prayers, and it's called Nav Smaran. આપણે નવકાર મંત્ર બોલે છે ત્યારે બોલે છે સમર મંત્ર બોલો નવકાર એ છે જોધપુર નવસાર એના મહિમાનો નહીં પાર પછી આવે છે નવનિધિ આપે છે નવનિધિ દાતા. So there are 9 special things which can happen by reciting the Navkar mantra, and these are kind of the 9 things which is Navnidhi. Why are the 9 recitations? Why are there 9 and not more? Jains have always considered the number 9 to be an auspicious one. There are 9 lines in the Nokar mantra. 9 is considered to be unbroken, akhand number. If any number is multiplied by 9 and then both the digits of the answer are added up, the total will come to 9. It's akhand, unbroken number. So he's given that example here. Yeah, it goes on. Panchintya Sutrama પણ આવે છે કે brahmacharya is of 9 types. So that's again talking of that. Yeah, and I think it goes on. I've got quite a few more to do, but actually we just leave it at this stage here.